Thank you. So my name's Emma Downer and I'm the founder of a social media brand called DIY with Emma, where I help people get into home DIY and learn all of the things that we might not have been taught at school. So things like handy DIY hacks or how-tos, or even follow-along projects where I show people all the stuff that goes wrong, which happens quite a lot. And people often find those quite helpful because they think to themselves it's just them who's making the mistakes, and it's not. So I have a community of 278,000 people on TikTok and 360,000 over wider social media, and my content's been viewed about 100 million times across social media. Interested in video content. This was then, and so every video that I put up just wasn't getting the traction that I wanted, and I noticed that I was getting quite a lot of marketing for TikTok to join the app, and so I went to my niece because she's Gen Z, and I thought, oh, it's a kids dancing app, so I'll go and ask the niece how to use it. And I said, this TikTok thing, could you just show me how to use it? And this was at the start of lockdown, and it was quite common for people my age, the millennials, at the start of lockdown, got a bit bored, joined TikTok. And so when I did actually join TikTok, I had 2 years worth of video content that I'd produced for Instagram. So I just started to upload that to see if it would be well received. And it was, because it just matched a lot better with the type of content that the platform desires. And when I first started, I was just putting up time lapses of what I was doing, if I was building a wall or something like that, just really short videos. And in terms of like customer feedback, people would sometimes say, oh, what tool did you use there? Or how did you manage to do that so quickly? And that's kind of where the DIY hacks would come up, or I'd do the how-tos, or even product recommendations and things like that. And one person one day said, do you never finish a project? And I was like, oh, I guess I don't really show anything finished. And so that's kind of where my follow-along project started, and I could show people the whole process, and especially the bits that go wrong, because they like those the most. So that's kind of, you know, people will say, oh, you were very quickly successful on TikTok. But it's certainly true that I had 2 years worth of, you could call it failure before that, to finally get to a point of being like, okay, this is going to work. I found the right platform for my content. Sometimes I just wait until Ryanair uses it, and then I'm like, now it's popular enough and I'm going to use it. So I just wait to see what they do. But similarly, it seems to me it's never the videos that you spent 6 hours working on that go viral. My first properly viral video was a DIY hack, and it was just something that I thought, oh, I kind of want to put some content up today. It took me 5 minutes, and if you want to know what it was how to easily paint the spindles on your stairs by just using a sock. Because you can just get into all of the crevices, quickly go over it with a brush, job done. The tradespeople hated it, but everyone else loved it. And I quickly posted that. It was about 11 at night, went to bed and woke up to 400 comments. And I thought, what's been going on here? And I thought I assumed it was something bad. I was like, if I've got 400 comments, did I swear in a video? Did I do something I shouldn't? And that was my first viral video. So I would say, you don't need to overthink too much the kinds of content that you're putting up, because it's surprising what people are interested in. You can't always anticipate what people will be interested in. And like I say, I started off with these time lapses. I do a little bit of that now, but mostly my content has completely changed from what it was. But I wouldn't have got to where I was now had I not just started to just see what people might be interested in. People in the comments will tell you what they like.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting, like if I ask the audience now, like how many of you are on TikTok as a business or a personal, like hands up if you're on TikTok? Okay, so quite a few. So really something that you've mastered, I suppose. So what would be your tips for brands to grow, and how can they kind of do what you have done?
Well, I think having it be audience or community focused can be really helpful, because thinking about what it is, why are they going to watch your video? What is in it for them? I think any video that I've produced that is DIY hacks or how-tos, that starts with, this is how you have always been very popular. And I think as like a general tip for people starting to do like the video editing, because the app, sometimes people are just flipping through and they just want something to catch their attention. So if you are starting your video and you maybe take that first breath in to start talking, sometimes that's enough for people to be like, oh, I'm bored, I can't, you know. So whenever I edit a video, for example, I'll normally be halfway through the first word because it's still easily understandable, but you're already in a conversation with them. You'll never believe this, or this is how you do this, and so they're already hooked. Or having something striking to begin the video. So if there's something really novel in your video that sits somewhere in the middle, you can put that at the start, so they're like, oh, there's something interesting here, I'm curious about that. One of the things that I did, so for example with the DIY hack with the sock, my first because I did a few different versions of it, one of the first examples is my hand just about to go into a paint pot, and people are like, what is going on here? So even if something like that fits better in the rest of the video, you can include it at the start and then be like, oh, let me tell you why I did this, because then they're already interested in what's going on. Specific problem. So people were looking to try and fill up paddling pools, but they didn't have an outdoor tap. And if you've ever gone out to buy one of those adapters, sometimes they fit, sometimes they don't, and you have to go back to try the other one, and even the universal ones don't quite fit, and then the water's coming out and your kid's like, I want the pool, and it's like, I'm trying. And I just showed people how you could use a siphon to take the water from a sink down a hose pipe into the paddling pool. It didn't require any additional tools, and it was something that almost anybody could do. Now, siphons were discovered, I think, by the ancient Egyptians, so it's been around for a little while and it's not a new idea. And some people did tell me that in the comments, this isn't new. But for the most part, people were like, I never would have thought to use that as a solution. And so trying to solve the problems of a community, I think is going to be really helpful if you're looking to build a community. In terms of what's next, like I say, I like to, if I can, serve my community and what they're asking for. And although I've got over 1,000 videos on TikTok, not everybody wants to search through 1,000 videos to get the exact piece of information that they need in their like DIY journey. So I'm building a specific course for new homeowners, which will eventually turn into lots of different courses, but this specific one will be for people who are new and you know, just imagine the kind of person who's just bought a house for the first time and has discovered they have this huge skills gap, and they ask themselves, when was I supposed to learn this? And so that's going to be for those people who want a bit more of a personal one-to-one type of experience.
Amazing, and as I mentioned, at Only Curls London on TikTok and at DIY with Emma.